Hello, lovely ladies. I'm Jen Madrone, and I'm so happy to be here with you this morning, sharing some energy, some time, some wisdom with you all. And today, what I want to share and talk with you all about is the quest for truth and discerning truth and what that even means. Because I would venture to say for all of us, seeking truth is what got us to where we are right now, to brought you to being a part of this retreat, what brought you to wanting to investigate, who you are and what it means to be alive in this moment and to connect more fully with you as essence, as spirit, in your full divine authenticity. And so we're going to dive into, what truth is and what it looks like to live our truth, to speak our truth, to be our truth. And so when we look at the word truth, it's a pretty big word. It encompasses so much. And, as we started down this path seeking truth, most of us started because we realized that so much of what we believed or what we have been taught or what has been handed to us as truth isn't really true. It doesn't feel like truth to us. It doesn't resonate. It feels like it belongs to someone else and not to us. And so that is often what starts the spiritual journey or the path to awakening, because we want to know what is really true, because we start to see beyond the veil of illusion, beyond this 3D world, that there is just so much more out there that isn't being talked about, that isn't being taught, that isn't being recognized, and so much inside as well that isn't being talked about and recognized. And so we start down the path of looking and seeking for truth, wanting to know. And usually we want to know the black and white truth. Is this truth? Is this not? Because that's what feels safe. The ego loves a black and white truth because it feels safe. It knows what to avoid, what not to avoid, what to do, what not to do. And it makes us feel safe at the level of the small us, of the level of the ego. And so that's what we're used to. We're used to trying to find a very clear black and white truth. And so we may started down this spiritual road looking for that black and white truth and found so much amazing information out there, and it vibrated differently in our bodies, and so it was super exciting. But then we get overloaded. There's so much of it, like different modalities and different techniques, and everyone has a different opinion and belief about things. And so at some point we get overloaded and we go, wait a minute, like, what if this is all bullshit too? What if this isn't true either? And that's absolutely perfect, because it makes us go deeper into who we are. It makes us go past, once again, any sort of truth that's outside of us, to go deeper in the search for truth, because that is the only place we will find absolute truth. And so from here, we're talking about truth with a capital T. What is really true for us? And so as we go deeper and deeper and deeper, looking for that truth, it makes us ask these bigger questions, like, what's the truth of who I am? What's the truth of this existence? What's the truth of this life, and why we're even here at this moment? And so, even though we realize that there's no black and white, and even though that path of black and white takes us inside so that we can find that bigger truth. So there's a huge purpose. I'm not saying that, of course, there's no black and white, so there's no right or wrong, that, the small self isn't leading us astray. It's actually leading us to exactly where we need to be, looking deep inside for that bigger truth of who we actually are on a really deep level. And so this journey takes us inward. And once we're able to kind of release the idea that we're going to find a truth anywhere outside of us, then things get exciting, because then things get real and we can really start to connect with our own truth with a capital T. You know, because there are many types of truths, and the main types are relative truth and absolute truth. And the relative truth is always changing. It's the truth that changes from moment to moment. Even things considered universal truths can change as we go through this spiritual evolution on our planet. And so much of what we hear in our day-to-day life, it's all relative truth. It's truth of this moment. And we're being bombarded with so much information and so many opinions that are all relative truth. It may be true for that person. It may be true at this moment. But on the bigger scale, it's not truth, because it's changing. It's illusory. It's transitory. It can't be truth because it's not eternal, because it could be completely different in 5 minutes from now. So that's relative truth, and that's the truth we find in any media and any news source and anything that has opinion, and it's always changing. And right now we're being really bombarded with a lot of relative truth, and it can, once again, can be hard to know what to believe and what not to believe. And so that's why it's so important, especially at a day and time when we're so full and just being hit with so many opinions, that we go deeper and we find our own truth. And that is the absolute truth, the truth with a capital T, that is never changing and is eternal. And unfortunately, we can't put this truth into words. It just doesn't happen, because it's so much bigger than words. It's something that has to be experienced. It's something that is deeply personal. And it's something that we can't even really search for. We do the work of peeling away all of the things that have covered up this truth in us, so that we can't see it as clearly. We do the work of removing and peeling away all of the layers of beliefs and traumas and patterns and programs, so that we can reach that absolute inner truth. And that's the way we seek for it. We can't go and ask, what is it? What is this truth? Like, we just eventually come to experience it. And the beautiful thing is that we all have experienced it, and you guys may already have a understanding of what that truth feels like inside of you. And so this absolute truth, this ultimate truth, the truth of who you are, your essence, is what we're talking about today. Because that is what allows us, our connection with that is what allows us to live firmly grounded in our authenticity, firmly grounded in who we are, firmly grounded in that inner, eternal, unwavering joy and peace. And so we keep doing that work day by day to connect with that truth. And so there's a couple of things that can help us on this journey as we get to a point where we're trying to discern what's truth for us, whether it's we're making a decision about something that needs to be done, or about a class we want to take, or about a modality we want to learn, or a decision about even where we want to go, or we hear some information and we want to know if it's true for us. And so discerning the truth can be, I broke it down into 3 simple steps. Of course, there's not 3 simple steps to anything, but this makes it a little bit easier to understand. The first question that you might want to ask if you're falling into fear, especially right now, you're trying to discern truth on any level, or if you're falling into fear because of what's going on in our external circumstances. The first question you want to ask when you want to know if something is true for you, you ask first, how does it feel? Does this feel true to me? How does it feel in my body? Does it bring up fear? Does it bring up love? Does it bring up expansion or contraction? Does it bring up confusing thoughts? And the more clear you get on how it feels, and if it feels expansive, if it feels love, like love, even if it's not a pleasant thing, it can still feel expansive and like love if it is true, if it has an inkling or connection with your truth. And so really recognizing and honoring how you're feeling, and not what you're thinking and what your mind is telling you, but what you're feeling is what's going to help you connect with your own truth. And then the second step, once you okay, there is some truth to this. Is it relative truth or is it ultimate truth? Is the next question. And most of the time we'll find that it is relative truth, because that's just, that's our world around us. It's full of this relative, illusory truth. And then the third question is, let all of that lead you deeper into questioning, okay, so then what is the truth of who I am? If this feels true or this feels not true, what is the truth of who I am? Because these other two questions are going to lead you to connect with yourself, with how you feel. And then you'll ask yourself that question: what is the truth of who I am and what this existence is? And you leave that question open-ended. You leave it open and you just observe and you see what comes without grasping for answers or words. You just release that question and you let it come. So once we stop grasping for specific truths in every situation of our life, and we open to a much bigger truth of who we are, our whole reality changes. Everything changes around us because we are allowing for the bigger mystery of life and the magic of life to enter without putting limitations on it. And so we go through these steps of connecting what the truth is of who we are in this moment. And we can use our questioning in this 3D reality to take us there. And we open to that bigger picture, that bigger question, and we move through life in a different way than we moved through before. And so each time we do this and we allow ourselves to release relative truth that is so often based on fear, then we're able to choose something else, a different feeling. And we've all probably heard by now that we really have two choices in life. We can choose fear or we can choose love. And which one feels more true for you? Which one feels more expansive for you? Which one feels more resonant in your body? And choose from there. And that's another way that we can make our choices. And so we have to let go of the idea that we're looking for these specific truths in every situation, and allow ourselves to open to a much bigger truth and a much bigger experience. And when we do open to that truth of who we are, we begin to open to the mystery of who we are without grasping for answers, without grasping for specifics. We start to allow ourselves to move past the 3D reality, because this 3D reality has so much distraction in it. And yes, like, we are human, we're having a human experience. And so we do have to address certain issues in our life. We do have to, address responsibilities and take care of things. But so often when we're overwhelmed with these responsibilities, we can forget our divine truth. We can forget that we are so much more than these human beings having a 3D experience. And so this seeking for truth that we're all doing leads us back to that place of pure spirit inside of us. It leads us back to connecting with our essence. And so, right now in this journey of life, as the 3D can feel really overwhelming, it's such a beautiful time to bring spirit back into our life, to bring spirit back into our experience, because that's what is needed. We all need a much bigger, expansive vision and experience of what we're going through. And so, that's what we're doing right now, is remembering that who we are beyond the 3D. And so when we want to find our own truth, when we want to connect with the truth of who we are on a much deeper level, and we're not quite sure, how to do that, I came up with 3 steps for that too. So just some suggestions that you can take on your own. And so these are 3 things that you can just kind of journal about afterwards, after I finish talking, or whenever something arises that you're trying to find discernment within. And so the first one, the first step of connecting with your own personal truth is releasing the things that are covering, keeping you from your personal truth. And I know we're all have probably done quite a bit of work. We may be in different places in that process. Quite a bit of work on ourselves in releasing old traumas, releasing old patterns, old programmings, old things that have held us back in our past. And every step of that process of healing, releasing, and letting go allows us to get closer to our own truth. And so I would challenge you to go even deeper, because there's always more work to be done, another layer. And so just watch and see, what things trigger you, what things are still arising for you, what things are bringing up fear for you. And see if you can identify them, and ask if they're true for you still, and ask what needs to be done in order to continue to release that particular programming, pattern, or pain. And so the first one is releasing whatever is holding you back and covering you from your truth. So you could also do that in meditation simply by asking, what is keeping me from living my truth 110%? And then as that comes up, allowing it to speak to you, allowing it to show you what you need to see, and then allowing it to be released and transformed into the light of who you really are. And so that's the first one, is release. The second one is to recognize that you already know what your ultimate truth feels like and looks like, because it's always been there within you. And you've had different experiences that have connected you to that essence, whether it's through meditation, through spiritual experiences, awakening experiences, or just being on the massage table or doing acupuncture, or something that takes you really deep. And so you connect with that really deep, peaceful part of yourself, and you feel a bit altered because you've gone to a much deeper place than when you began. It could even be with a connection with someone else has led you to connect with that essence within you. And so there's so many different ways. So the second step is recognizing that you've had these experiences. They may have even been spontaneous. And all of these experiences build a roadmap back to ourselves. They are like building another path back to ourselves. And so each time that we get thrown off from our own truth of who we are, when we have this map, we can find our way back to ourselves a little bit faster each time. And so by recognizing when we have these experiences of connecting with our own truth and our own essence, and perhaps you do that every morning with your meditation, memorizing what that feels like for you, and recognizing, yes, this is the truth of who I am. And so you get much more familiar with that feeling and that vibration than with the vibration of fear or anxiety or stress or anger, whatever it is that throws you off and triggers you. And so recognizing what that vibration feels like, what that essence feels like, and really honoring it and taking the time to remember it and feel it in every cell of your body. And so that's the second step. The third one is remembering, which I just touched on. And that is the process that we're all going through right now. We're remembering ourselves as pure spirit, as divine, as eternal. And when we recall these experiences, that helps us remember. And it helps us to connect, and it helps us to live in that essence and that place of truth for longer and longer periods of time. And so honoring the fact that this is a time of remembering for all of us, and this process of spiritual growth and awakening is a time of remembering ourselves as truth, as pure divine essence. And so those are the three steps: release, recognize, and remember, for connecting with our own personal truth. And this is actually a really exciting time on the planet, to be here on the planet right now, because there's so much transformation happening globally. And just our planet alone has been changing. And we know that the resonant frequency of our planet has been rising higher and higher. That Schumann frequency has been rising to, unheard of frequencies over the past many, many years. And now, even with what we're going through right now, the energy is there, and it's supporting deep, deep change and transformation. And so I'm really excited about this time on the planet, and to know that we are all supported. We're not doing this on our own. We are all being supported by the energy of this planet, of each other, of the divine, to really raise our vibration, to heal ourselves, and to show up as the amazing, beautiful, authentic humans that we actually are. And when we all do that on a deeply personal level, then we are going to change the vibration of this planet and change what's happening on this planet. And that's really, really exciting for me. And so I'm just so glad that you guys are all doing this work. I encourage you to keep doing it. And before we end, I want to just take a minute to drop in and connect with that inner vibration of truth and essence, because what we really are talking about is a vibration inside of us. And so we're going to take a minute to connect with that before we end this part of the offering. So take some nice deep breaths into the belly, releasing all of the words that I've just offered, and knowing that they will be there when you need them. And allowing your awareness to move from your head and down into the heart. And as you move that breath and awareness into the heart, just noticing what that vibration is that you're feeling right there. It could be the very surface level, just what you're noticing first. Don't have to dig or search, just feel. And then allow yourself to go below it, below that initial vibration, a little deeper, feeling that next level. And then dropping down even deeper to the very center of your being. And feeling what that vibration is below all of the other vibrations. And just sitting with it, not having to do anything with it, but feel it, and honor it, and be with it, allowing it to spread through your entire body. Knowing that this vibration is who you are, and as it fills the physical body, all of the places that need this vibration, this essence, once the physical body is full, it pushes out past the physical body and into the energetic body. And the energetic body fills, expands, and gets bigger and bigger with this essence. Expanding bigger because it is completely limitless. And we can even imagine it connecting with the essence, the truth, and the divine nature of all of us on this call. That this energy is expanding so big that it bumps into the energy of each other. And we can see how that energy grows and spreads and affects everything around us. And so as we end today, we're just going to express some deep gratitude for this divine energy that we all are, for this essence, for our individual and collective truth, and for the work that we're all doing. So I think it's time to take a break, but that's what I wanted to share with you all today. And be sure to do some journaling if you feel called to do that. Sending so much love to you all. Thank you again for being here. And I hope that we'll see you again soon.